Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome back to Unplugged. I know you got two solo episodes with me this week, but I really appreciate your feedback from earlier this week on alignment. A lot of you who heard that episode, you had a lot of really positive things to say about the power of alignment and how it's working for you in this current moment. And it got me thinking of all of the times in my life and all the years in my life that I went through that I didn't even know, I wouldn't have even known that I was out of alignment because I didn't know what the signs were, and I didn't know like what to look for. And so I want to kind of just talk about a little bit of that today. Like, what does it feel like to be out of alignment? Like, what does that like feel like in your body? What does it look like in your life? What does that mean? Right. And because I went through that for a really long time. And before I even go into that, I just have to share I'm currently in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm visiting my dear friend, Rachel Todd, who's been on this podcast a couple times now. And I am sitting because her house right now has so many people in it. It's like there's three kids, there's a dog, there's like six adults. Like it's chaos in this house. And so where I am currently recording from is her gym, her in-home gym they have a sauna in their gym, and I am currently in the sauna. And I'm not it's not on or anything, but it's like the most soundproof place I can find in this house right now. So kind of funny that's where I'm at. But anyway, so there was a time, and I want to share this with you. So for those of you who haven't been listening to my podcast since the beginning, I got married when I was 20 years old to my high school sweetheart and immediately moved to London where I worked and I danced. And my husband at the time was in the Navy. And so he was stationed there as well. And it was a really wild time in my life. And I actually remember just feeling like all the pieces had fallen into place at that moment. And then a few years went by and I was feeling scared and I was feeling depleted and I was feeling like nothing made sense. And I started to put weight on that I had never put on before. My eating got weird. I actually became a pre-diabetic at one point. And it's interesting because my dad, who obviously passed away in January, was a type 1 diabetic. And I was pre-diabetic. And so there was just like a lot of things. My body was giving me cues that something wasn't right. And what that ended up being is that I wasn't happy in my marriage. It wasn't something that I wanted to be doing. It wasn't something that it was something that was not right for me anymore. And it's interesting because I would have never, if you would have asked me then, I would have said, no, like this is normal. It's normal to go through ups and downs in a marriage, and which it is. And of course, it's normal to go through ups and downs of marriage. That's marriage, right? You go through good, you go through bad, and you get through it. But this was so much deeper than that. This was that I had lost my identity in my husband at the time. I had lost my identity, and I was so out of alignment. And, I am a Sagittarius. I am independent. I was raised to be independent. I was raised to be a very outgoing, independent individual from my parents. And so when I wasn't, and I was feeling very out of whack, and I was feeling, all of the things in my body, I knew that I know now that that was my body telling me, like, you're not in alignment. That was my higher self saying, this is not what you want. And, I don't regret being married. Everyone always asks me that. Do you regret getting married so young? And I'm like, no, I don't regret getting married so young. Of course not, because I got to travel the world. I mean, we went to like 20 something countries in the time that we lived over in the UK. And we had a great time and it was great at the moment. And then I outgrew that. And my higher self was telling me that I needed to find alignment again. And so when I left that marriage and I moved in with my best friends at the time, I moved in with her and it was awesome. I felt independent again. I felt like I was on top of the world. I could like walk everywhere. We lived in West Hollywood. I was working in the entertainment industry. I was, working for Disney Channel at the time. Like there was there was so many things that were going right. I was feeling on top of the world again. And then you start, your body will give you signs when you are out of alignment. And I know now what those are. And in my body, it's brain fog, it's weight gain, like unexplainable weight gain. It is feeling tired all the time. It's having anxiety. I don't normally get anxiety. I'm not an anxiety ridden laden person. And when I do get anxiety, it's something like, it. And so flash forward to the last few months at Soul Cycle, when I knew that I was no longer in alignment. I knew it. I could feel it in my body. It just sometimes takes a while to listen, right? It takes a while to really go, okay, I need to make changes because my higher self, my highest self, the most acoustic version of me is calling me to something that I am not living out. And so think about your life and think about like, oh my gosh, like, are you living your life in alignment right now? Do you feel that what you are doing with your life, the relationships that you have, the job that you have, the business that you started, the friendships that you hold on to, are those all working toward your highest self? And the answer may be no. Listen, the answer may be no. You might not be fully in alignment, and that's okay. It's not like you have to drop everything that's not in alignment immediately. I'm just saying, start to pay attention to these things, because there's going to come a point where it's going to come to a head and you're going to have to make a decision. And if you can be so self-aware that you know which things can fall off when the time comes for them to fall off, it will make it so much easier on yourself, and you will be a lot less blindsided. Because I really do think that, we're all on this journey, right? We're all on this journey of life. We're trying to figure out, pardon my French, we're trying to figure out what the fuck we're doing. We're trying to figure out what's going to happen next, what's happening with the world. We live in such a polarized world right now, and that energy will carry into our own soul, into our own energy field. And then we start to be at odds with ourselves, which is the opposite of what we really should be doing, right? That's the opposite of living our life in full alignment. That's the opposite of, trying to hold on to something because you're not a quitter. Have you ever heard that? Like, I'm not going to give that up because I'm not a quitter. I'm not a quitter. Yes, it's quitting. If you leave your job, like if I leave my job at Soul Cycle, I am technically quitting my job, but you're not a quitter. You're just leaving things that are no longer serving you, even if they once did. And if you're feeling stuck, you are not stuck. You are just using old patterns of behavior and trying to apply them toward your new trajectory where you are going. And that's not going to work. That is what I'm saying is out of alignment, because old habits will not get you to new places. Think about that, I guess. Think about that as you move through these next few weeks, months, years of your life. Start to really think about what parts of you can fall off when the time comes for them to fall off. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I've known for a while that when the time came, it would be Soul Cycle that fell in order for me to continue to grow. And that doesn't mean it's an easy decision. That doesn't mean that I'm not heartbroken over leaving it. And because I knew that it was coming, I was able to brace myself for my fall. Does that make sense? So think about what things are going to fall when they are ready, because you're going to come up with new habits. You're going to have to come up with new patterns of behavior. You're going to have to get creative and curious about where your life can go if you truly want to keep growing. So that's what was on my heart today. I hope you all have a beautiful day, night, morning, weekend, evening, start of your week, whenever you're listening to this. And come and talk to me in my DMs. I'm Danielle_on_the_daily or @on_the_daily_pod. Come find me, come talk to me. Tell me what you think of this episode. Tell me if it relates to you. And of course, share it with anybody who needs it. If you are on Apple Podcasts, which if you're not, please get on Apple Podcasts. Spotify is great, but it's not how we track our metrics. So it would be so, so helpful to me if you could go onto Apple Podcasts, leave a review, and give us a 5-star rating so that we can continue to grow and get this out to more people. I love you all so much. And I'm so grateful for you. Have a beautiful night.